Slayer! Hi, I'm Tom. To celebrate the release of the brand new Death Guard Codex, I decided to kitbash my own Daemon Prince to match my Warlord from my Crusade force, the Lord of Virulence. In the Crusade rules, your characters can gain Chaos Boons or Nurgle buffs, if you want to call them that, and if your character acquires enough, it can ascend to Demonhood, and if you're very unlucky, it goes the other way and you can turn into a Chaos Spawn. So the idea behind this kitbash is that the Daemon Prince should closely resemble my Warlord, the Lord of Virulence, but it should have lots of Nurgle's blessings like additional limbs and tentacles and weird things. In the Crusade rules for Death Guard in the last edition, your characters could ascend to Demonhood, but in this rulebook, which I only got yesterday, it looks like you can't. No bother, me and my friend who are playing it will make some rules to make sure this happens. I've also done a painting guide to Death Guard if you want to check out my other videos. Let me know in the comments what kitbashing you've done for your army, and what do you think of my attempt. Please like the video and subscribe so you don't miss out on my future videos. I also have Patreon and affiliate links if you want to support me further. The Lord of Virulence is my Warlord for my Crusade force. Armed with a twin Plague Spewer and a Power Fist, he can really put out some damage, and he's always accompanied by a unit of Death Shroud Terminators. When he ascends to Demonhood, he's going to need a huge Power Claw, some form of spewers, and these huge pipes on his back. The coolest match I could find is this beast. This is Boneripper from the Skaven faction in Age of Sigmar, normally accompanied by Thanquol. It's a humongous mutated rat ogre with 4 arms. Just saying those words makes me think this is going to work. Boneripper has a lot of Skaven iconography, which I'll need to remove, including his rat tail. My theory is, when Nurgle blesses my Warlord, each weapon will gain an individual arm. 1 for each of the spewers, and 1 for the claw. And a spare for shenanigans. Boneripper also comes with a backpack, which he can add pipes to. The Lord of Virulence has this, what I'm going to coin a flesh kilt. So I'm going to sculpt similar as well. I'm going to try and match the Virulence as close as I can. So first thing first, I'm going to get on the claw. And the only place I could source one of these was in the Chaos Knights kit. This is almost perfect, but it's a right-handed one. And the Lord of Virulence is a left-handed one. Using artistic license, I'm going to have to switch around the arms. I'll remove one of the spewers from the bottom right arm, and it's almost a perfect match. I think that, yeah, that pose looks cooler. I had to play around with the pose until I got one I was happy with, and this is what I decided on. So the 2 Plague Spewers, I initially thought, well, I can make one of them and add bits to it, add spare bits and make it a dual Plague Spewer. But then what would I put on the other 2 arms? And just dry fitting it and trying to make it work, it just won't look as cool. All these pipes and cylinders and tubes I'm going to leave there. And I'm also going for a sort of Dark Mechanicus vibe with this as well. So these 2 top arms, I decided, right, they're the dual Plague Spewers. Nurgle has given him 2 arms with a spewer in each. And this head is going to have to go. I'm going to have to build something similar to the Virulence. If in case you haven't noticed, this Boneripper was a eBay rescue. So the Lord of Virulence head, he's got a big tube, well, elongated head with tubes coming out of it. So I looked through the bits box, found these bloat drone like face plates, and I really like them, but when I started test fitting them, they just looked a bit janky and too big. I'd have to build lots and lots of green stuff flesh behind the sort of the neck area. So let's have a look in the bits box. Boopity-boppity boop. So out of the bits box, I found this other bloat drone faceplate. I love all the pipes out of it. They're all sort of similar to the Lord of Virulence. I have these like drones from Blackstone Fortress, which I thought would look cool as well if I incorporate them. I was just sort of trying to get an idea together here. I could use them as a head, attach the pipe bits of the drone. I've seen lots of people use these wings, these bloatfly wings. I've got these spare bits from a bloat drone as well, heavy blight launcher. He also has this shield on his shoulder, and in the knight's kit there's his shield, so maybe that'll work. So I decided on this head, but I'm still not set on the large plate at the top. But the sort of proboscis look of it and all the tubes, I think, is matching the Lord of Virulence quite a lot. The shoulder plate from Boneripper needs to stay. I think it fits perfectly, and I can make it look more like it belongs to a Death Guard model. So this arm, I'm undecided. I've got my 2 spears and a plate claw arm, like a power fist claw arm. What do I do with the last one? I'm not sure. This is where I've sort of committed now, and I'm deciding what I need to remove. I need to remove the rat tail, I need to remove the loincloth, any iconography, start removing them to try and match the Lord of Virulence a bit more. Decided I don't want this spewer. This is where I'm trying to fit the drones in. I thought maybe if I do like a tentacle arm and have these sort of drones coming out of it or spawning from it. I think they look a little fleshy. So here I decided on the proboscis head, but I cut the plate off. And after I did it, I was like, yes, this is looking weird. Looks a bit like a fly, mechanical fly. And what I did in the hole for the head, I actually put in a bit of one of the blight launchers. So just wedged it in the hole, stuck it with loads of glue, and then put the bloat drone head over the top. I've also got a bit of some spikes off some more bloat drone spares to try and match the shoulder pad. I know the claw is on the other arm, but I'm trying to visually match the Lord of Virulence as close as I can. This is where I got the plate off the Chaos Knight, and that's where I've realised it's too big. It just looks silly. I don't think it really adds, even if it was a smaller one, it doesn't need it. I also got this banner. I think this is from some Blightbringers from Age of Sigmar, and I thought this would be quite good to cover up the Skaven iconography. Sort of give him a loincloth of some sort. This shoulder pad is from Armiger, I think. And again, I found some iconography sort of trying to match the other shoulder pad. That's what it's going to look like when it's attached. There's a huge gap behind this, but I don't think Nurgle cares. It's not perfect. That's the whole point of Nurgle's blessings. So then for the chimneys, I bought this brass rod. I wanted to buy plasticard like tubes, but I couldn't find any, so I settled with brass, and it really was a pain in the arse to try and cut it. I had to use a Dremel. I did one as a test, and it is going to work. The spare arm I decided to use is actually from a Mordor troll from Lord of the Rings, and it sort of just fits and looks weird. 3 fingers, yeah, this looks kind of cool. So on the top here, this is where I'm going to put the pipes, the chimneys, the pipes. So I want them coming out of its spine and its neck, and obviously it's not matching the virulence exactly, but yeah, that's what I'm going to aim for. And then the flesh kilt, I was like, right, so it comes out from the middle of the backpack all the way around to the stomach, sort of attaches near the chest, both sides. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pipes, which is Nurgle's number. Interesting. So I'll get to work on that in a minute. I made these green stuff tubes as well. So you get some green stuff. You get one of these like tentacle or tube rollers. Just make sure it's wet. Put the green stuff in, roll it back and forth, and you get all these bits of tubes. You let them dry a bit and then super glue them in place. Very handy. And then I'm going to go work on the kilt. So for the kilt, I'm using some old headphone wire. It's actually I use it quite a lot now. It's easy to glue together. The wires actually help it sort of stick in place as well. So I attach 2 bits of wire in the middle, stuck them in the middle of the backpack, and then started trying to shape the flesh kilt. It's probably got a real name, not just flesh kilt. And then I stuck individual strands down from the sort of waistband one, and then I superglued these to the base while I sculpted the flesh kilt. So if you're not using green stuff, you literally just put equal parts of the blue and yellow together, and then I literally dunk it in a pot of water, make it all slippy, and then squish it all together. After about 2 minutes it turns green, and that's when you know it's ready. That's it. We've got a few hours actually to play around with this, and if it starts drying, you just wet it and you can resculpt it. So I'm making it thin by crushing it between my fingers and then sort of pulling it apart to make it tear, and then I'm spreading it over all of these sort of tubes on the kilt. Flesh kilt. That's probably got a weird euphemism somewhere. But yeah, this is starting to come together actually. So I wasn't sure how this would turn out, and after I started sculpting it, I was quite happy with it. I've intentionally put tears and sort of nicks in the flesh as well. So I don't want it to match the virulence exactly. So it's supposed to look mismatched and damaged. And then when I've painted this, it's going to look all flesh, covered in flesh wash and sort of purples and maybe some blue. And it'll look, that's sinister and decayed. So this bit of green stuff's dried out a little bit because while I've been sculpting, literally dunk it in some water and squidge it together, and it regains its elasticity. So on this bit here, I'll show you the technique. So I'm literally attaching it on one of the tubes and sort of dragging it across. And I don't care if it tears. That's sort of the intent. I want it to look all messy and mismatched. And make sure you smooth it out with a wet finger or wet. Anything you go near it needs to be wet. Dip your knife in the water and then start pulling bits out of it. You wet your finger, and then I'm sort of pushing it into all these crevices. And I also cut off all the excess as well. And this is the finished kitbash. So I've put all these brass pipes in the back, literally bored them into its flesh, put sort of sand and dirt around where it attaches, which will look like rust when it's painted. And yeah, it's looking awesome. Put some the tubes around the head to make it look quite like the Lord of Virulence as well. I'm very happy with it, and I think it does look like him. I put super glue all over the cloak as well, just add some texture to it and make it stronger. There you go, quite a good match I think. My daughter clearly doesn't seem to think so, the cheek of it. Right, let's get some paint on it. Boop de bobbity boo. I went for a pink and blue flesh to make it look decayed. I think I'll add some more verdigris to it as well. If you want to know how to paint like this, I've done a painting guide showing how I painted my entire army in 2 days. It's in the video description below. Let me know what you think of the kitbash and the paint job in the comments, and check out my other videos too. If you want to support me further, you can send me supers on YouTube or support me on Patreon, where I post behind the scenes and you get access to my Discord. A thank you to my current Patreon supporters, you absolute legends. Thanks for watching. Bye.